Today we're taking a look at one of the most powerful tools to improve your opening play, the lichess opening database. So unlike the chess.com opening database, lichess's database is completely free to use, and it also has some extra features which chess.com doesn't have. So in this video I'm going to walk you through where to find the database, how to use it, and some tips and tricks to get the most out of it. My name's Nathan Rose. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. These kinds of videos around my favorite chess tools are just part of what I do. I also review master games, provide tips on how to improve your game. Plenty of good material, so subscribe and you won't miss out on any of it. So the first thing you need to know is where to find it, because it's actually not very easy to find. You've got to go to the lichess homepage, lichess.org, and then go to Tools, Analysis Board, and then you have to highlight this book here. By default it might not be selected when you first go onto the site, but make sure you click on the book and then that'll make the database appear. Now there are 4 features to it. There's 3 tabs, and one of the tabs has 2 uses. So we'll just go through them one at a time. So the first of these is the Masters database. If you hover over it, you can see the definition. It's OTB games of 2200 plus FIDE-rated players from 1952 onwards. So it doesn't go all the way back in history, but far enough to be useful. You can see that each of the moves has got a percentage for white, for black, and for the drawn result. So as you move through the game, let's just start doing that, you'll see that these percentages update to show each of the most popular moves in each position and how they perform for white, black, and for a draw. Let's just put the Evans Gambit on the board, because that's an opening I featured recently in one of my other videos. That's where white plays b4. You can see another thing is it actually provides some information on the left, which is quite handy. It gives some information about the character of the opening, some of the ideas for both white and for black, and if you scroll down far enough you can even get a little bit of a history lesson. So that's neat that that's right there on the page. But the most useful functionality, of course, is to improve your play. So let's focus on that. You can see that in this position, bishop takes b4 is the most popular move by master players, and you can see that the results there slightly favor black. At any point you can turn the engine on too to get the computer's view of how the position's evaluated. Right now it says 0.0. And if we scroll down beyond the moves, we can see that there's a selection of top games. And these are games which you can select and then see in full. So let's highlight this one, Kasparov versus Anand, 1995. Quite a famous game, because this happened at the Tal Memorial Tournament in Riga, like a serious OTB tournament. And this gambit from the 19th century was brought back by Kasparov as a surprise weapon, and actually won with it as well. So this is quite a famous game. But the point is that you can access games to see how they were played from there, all for free. And yeah, the entire game is there. You can review it, you can see how it finished. That's the position where Anand with the black pieces ended up resigning. If we just go back to the main view, another thing you can do is you can click on this gear icon. Again, not very obvious, but click on this gear icon and then you can filter a date range. So let's say that you're not interested in anything before 2020, for example. Then you can just type that in there, 2020 until, leave that one blank, so that'll go right up until today. And then you see all those statistics just updated, and the list of games will have updated too. So that Kasparov Anand game is not there anymore. So that's how the master players are playing that position. But it's also interesting to look at how players of your own level play that position. So that's where the lichess database comes in. This is the second feature. So when you click on the lichess database, you can see the statistics are a little different, obviously. The way that masters play positions versus non-masters is going to differ, and it can actually be more useful to look at this view because it might give you a stronger idea of what is actually happening at your level. And for this, it's really important to use this gear icon because this gives you very powerful abilities to filter based on time control and rating level. So let's say that you want to exclude ultra bullet, bullet, and correspondence, which is what I usually do. Like, let's just look at blitz, rapid, and classical. So where players have got a reasonable amount of time to look at the games. And let's say, for the sake of argument, that the person that's watching this is more of a beginner. So you can select only players who are 1200 and under. You've also got the ability to adjust by the date range, but let's just leave that blank for now. And we can see that among these lower rated players, the Evans Gambit actually does very well for white. Bishop takes b4 is still the most popular move, but white's getting a 54% success rate in games that reach this position. And if you look at how the game continues as well, it's saying that the most popular move here is bishop c5. So among players who are lower rated, bishop c5 is what's played in 75% of the games. Whereas in the master games, bishop a5 is the most popular choice. So this is quite useful to know because if you're doing preparation, you want to know what to expect at your own level, and this tool allows you to do that. Another way you can use this comparison between the lichess database and the master database is to give yourself new ideas in the opening. I have an example of my own here. If we go back to the starting position and look at it from the black point of view, and let's just adjust the rating range. I'm a bit more advanced. I'm up at the 2000 level, so let's just select players from 1800 to 2200. I play the knight off with black, so against e4 we have a Sicilian, and in the knight off white was giving me some trouble with this move h3, the idea of which is to play a quick g4, g5, bothering this knight on f6. I would play e5 and then white would often play knight d to e2, and I wasn't sure how to continue from here. I would often play bishop e6, which is actually the most common move at that level of 1800 to 2200. But when I look at the master database and how they're playing this position, almost no one is playing bishop e6. So that tells you something. There, the most popular move is either h5 or b5. And I saw that b5 performs pretty well for black. b5's got a 27% win rate for black, almost the same as white, which shows that black must be doing something right with this move. So I gave it a try, and through this opening database, looking at the comparison between masters and lichess, I was able to gain a new opening idea, and that's now what I play. The last tab we need to take a look at is the player tab, and within that there's two functionalities. Let's just flip the board and go back to the starting position. When you click on player, by default it's going to have your own games. You can click on the gear icon again to select which time controls you want it to look at, whether you want casual, rated, or both, and also the time range. Let's just keep it as it is. And it's showing your results, just your results. So let's take a look. If I play e4, I can get an insight here into which of my opponent's moves is giving me the most trouble. We can see that against e5, my results are pretty good. Against c5, my results are even better. But I'm having some trouble against e6, the French defense. That's a 50-50 result, showing that black's doing quite well. And against c6, the Caro-Kann, also not as good as the first two. So through this, you can gain an understanding of which of your openings you need to study more, maybe look at a change in repertoire if needed, or to just pay more attention to the lines that you already know, but to understand them in greater detail. Also within this player database, you can look up any other player, and this is extremely useful for opening preparation, particularly in OTB chess. A big part of tournament chess played under classical time controls is the preparation element. So in many tournaments, you'll find out who your opponent is the day before you play them, and then you've got all that time to try and find games of theirs, try and figure out what their opening repertoire might be, and then prepare accordingly. So you can use ChessBase for this, but ChessBase is a paid tool, and at the amateur level, not everyone has a ChessBase profile, but sometimes you can find an online account of theirs, and that can be just as helpful. Let's say, for example, that you were going to try and prepare against this player here, Muhammad Ayan Khan. Okay, this is just an example I found of someone who has their real name on their lichess profile. If you search for this in Google, this lichess account will pop up, and you can grab their username and go back to the opening database and type it in here. So just type in their username, and now it's going to show what they play. All right, so this player as black, let's see what they do. If I play e4, imagine that I've got the white pieces in my upcoming OTB tournament game, I can expect either g6 or e5. So that means I don't really need to prepare against the Sicilian, Caro-Kann, French defense. Very unlikely that I'll face those. That information is already very helpful, but if we go deeper, we can gain even more insight. So let's say that I want to look deeper into the symmetrical king's pawn opening. And if I just go through my own repertoire here, I want to see what he's likely to play. And interestingly, the move that this player plays most often online is Queen h4, which is actually a very rare and dubious line. It's not the main move against the Scotch. So if I was up against this player and I could spend a few hours, which is what people do when they're preparing for OTB tournament chess, if I could spend a few hours looking into this in some detail, then I'm going to be as prepared as I can possibly be if that variation were to show up at the board. If you've enjoyed this video on the lichess opening database, please show your appreciation by dropping a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this one, and feel free to drop a comment as well. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Nathan Rose. Bye for now.